Greetings to Mr. Muhammad Faris bin Ali. My name is ISMAZAIDATUL and I will be the first presenter of Group 5. Our topic will be mental illness. Before we start, I would like to introduce you to my group members. First of all, we have IRFAN ZIKRY. Second, we have XAVIER. Third, we have SYLVESTER Chai. Fourth will be myself, ISMAZAIDATUL. And last but not least, we have KEELBISAS MIKA. Now let's moving on to the introduction. What is mental illness? Mental illness can be described as the diseases that affect the cognition, emotion, and also the behavioral control of someone. This will affect both the ability of children to learn and the adults to function well in their jobs, families, and also broader society. Next aspect will be the causes of mental illness, presented by SYLVESTER Chai.
The causes of mental illness can be quite various and debatable at certain point. Mental health can get worsened or deteriorate from different factors such as biological factor, psychological factor, and also environmental factor. But in biological factor, mental illness is most commonly found in families whose blood relatives also have this mental illness. For example, schizophrenia, autism, and bipolar disorder. These three diseases are usually family inherited disease, which means that these diseases are being passed down from one generation to another generation. Furthermore, certain genes may also increase the risk of developing mental illness as their life situation may trigger it. Next, mental illness caused by psychological factor occurs when they are injured mentally after living through an extremely traumatizing event or a distressing event. For example, women who were abused or experienced any sort of traumatizing event has a higher chance of developing mental health condition. Traumatizing events can be defined as experiences that put a person at risk of serious harm or death. For example, prolonged abuse, violence, and road accidents. This can cause anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder, which is well known as PTSD, in that person. When you experience a traumatic event, your body defense mechanism takes control of your body and creates a stress response. This is called fight or flight response, where your body produces chemicals to prepare your body for an emergency response, which can lead to symptoms such as raised blood pressure and increased heart rate. Lastly is the environmental factor. This factor is not linked with the other two factors, which is biological factor and psychological factor. Environmental factor is only affected by the individual's physical surroundings and their socio-economics. For instance, family background, income, status, peer pressure, and education will be discussed in environmental factor.
The symptoms of mental illness will be presented by XAVIER.
So the second aspect that we can say about mental illness is the symptoms. So number one symptoms that we can found in people with mental illness is number one is excessive fears. So excessive fears refers to too much fear. For example, people with mental illness, they mostly will feel afraid, anxious, nervous, or panic. So people with mental illness, other than that, they also can experience with problem thinkings, or maybe we can say overthinking. So people with mental illness will have problems thinking, which leads them to, inability to concentrate, or problems with memory or short-term memories, thoughts, or finding that creating speech are hard to explain. And that is the second symptom. So for the third symptom is people with mental illness, they will experience sleep and appetite changes, or also can be found in those people. Um, they will be sleeping and eating dramatically more or less than usual, and they also will experience their body changes. Either it is weight gain or loss, and they always sleepy all the time, no matter how much time they took to rest. So these three are the common symptoms that we can found in those people who are suffering with mental health problems. So if you find these symptoms in some people that you know, or in your family, or with your friends, you better care about them more. And last but not least is a withdrawal. What I mean by withdrawal, according to the Cambridge Dictionary in 1995, they also stated that withdrawal is the behavior in which they prefer to be alone and does not want to spend their time with anything. I mean, like, they tend to be alone more. They love to have their time with themselves. They love to spend time alone. They don't want to get any contact with anyone or anybody, and they will lose interest um, with, what can I say? They will lose interest in what they used to love. I mean, like, in what they used to love, what they do. So these are the four symptoms that are so common in those people who are suffering with mental health illness, with mental health problems. I'm sorry, with mental health problems. So um, that is all for the second aspect, the mental health symptoms that we can found in those people who are suffering with it.
This is a few example of mental illness symptoms. Next, we have IRFAN ZIKRY with the preventions of mental illness.
Hi, every disease and illness has cure and can to be prevented. Today, I will discuss two ways how to prevent mental illness. One of the way to deal with mental health issue is to make sure that we take a good rest. Getting quality sleep and enough sleep is essential for our physical and mental health. For example, some people need 8 hours of sleep to feel rested. Somehow, some people just need 4 to 6 hours of sleep. The next method, how to prevent the mental health problem, is by practicing healthy eating habit. The way you eat can affect how you feel for the entire day. We must invest some time and effort to hit a healthy diet to make sure our mental health be care and boost. Among the healthy eating habit, practicing dietary habit according to the food pyramid is the best way to analyze. There are many more steps that may be taken to prevent the mental health issue, and the best way is for the patient must receive a correct referral to address their disease issue. Thank you.
Now, it's time for KEELBISAS MIKA to conclude our presentation.
For the conclusion, there are numerous factors that contribute to the developing of mental illness. This is why some mental illness is very hard to identify. In the same context also, there are a variety of ways to determine if someone is really having mental illness or not, as well as techniques on how to curb and prevent mental illness from developing. That is it for the presentation from our group. Thank you.